All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to our first live Q&A session. I'm your host, Sean, and today I'm joined by Keran with Life Marketing. And we really want to do this live Q&A to be able to
All
answer
right,
our
what's going on, everybody?
community's direct questions. Uh-oh, we're getting some feedback. Already some technical issues from our first live. Keran, it sounds like you might need to mute the actual live video on YouTube right now.
Yep, I want to get a sneak peek. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Don't beat me up.
Well, cool. Well, welcome everybody. We're excited to get to your questions here in just a second. Before we begin, I have to make a financial disclaimer that this is not direct financial advice. This is for informational and educational and entertainment purposes only. I have to say that because of course, we don't know you guys' direct financial situations, and so there's no way we can give you accurate advice without actually knowing all your numbers and stuff like that. So, not financial advice, but we do plan to help you guys out with a lot of cool updates. So, if you're on right now, if you're live watching us, please pull up the chat box. We have a question for you. We want to know, where are you from? Tell us, where are you from in the chat box right now. Karan, why don't you go ahead and kick us off by telling everybody where you're from and maybe a little bit about that city?
Okay, sure thing. So I'm originally from Queens, New York, Cambria Heights. For anybody who know, Sean, as you know, I came here when I was in the sixth grade. So some might say that I'm from Georgia now. I do not subscribe to that, but but I'm originally from New York, Queens, Cambria Heights.
Yep, absolutely. Awesome, man. Thanks for sharing. And I'm from Stone Mountain, Georgia. It's a city about maybe 20, 30 minutes outside of Atlanta, Georgia. Cool little city. Has a mountain that's about 6,000 feet high. And I love that mountain. I had my first date there, my first job there, ran around the mountain, hiked up that mountain. So, very, very fond memories. So, let me turn to the chat really quick and see if we have some responses yet on where everybody else is from. Let's see. How can I pull up our chat box?
I'll
All
tell you,
right.
Sean. We have Larry from Kansas. We have Naeem from ATL. Oh, that's family right there. We have Michael from New York. Love it, love it. Jason from Tampa.
Hey, hey.
Letitia from Florence. We have Michael, another New Yorker for life. Oh yeah, right there. Yamisha from Florida, Jamaica in the house, Dallas,
Hey,
Texas.
hey.
We got a lot of people in the house today. Love it.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, guys, we're excited again to talk to you and get to your questions. Before we do, let's go ahead and get into some updates from what's happening in the business tax community right now. So I'll go ahead and get us started off regarding the child tax credit. Okay, I did a video on this a couple of weeks ago. A lot of people have been asking me questions about what's happening with the child tax credit. As we know right now, payments start July 15th, 2021. Okay. In addition to that, we've been getting a lot of questions about how do I opt out if I don't want that child tax credit, because maybe you're worried about the tax liability consequences, or maybe you just love the idea of getting a big tax refund at the end of the year. And so, what we're waiting on right now is the launch of the IRS portal. They're renovating some of their back end systems, and they're giving us the ability to opt out of the child tax credit if we don't want to. Right now, the IRS has set a tentative open deadline for July 1st for that portal to be done. Okay, that's a tentative open deadline. We're not quite sure when the exact date will be. It may be a couple days earlier or after. We'll just have to wait to see for that. I've also been getting a lot of questions about if I have a newborn that was born in 2021, how do I get the child tax credits for my newborn this year? Because, of course, they wouldn't be on my 2020 taxes. And again, with the IRS portal, we'll be able to go in and update the child that we want to claim. Same thing for co parents who may not still be together, and you're trying to decide who gets to claim the child tax credit and who gets to claim the child as a dependent. Same thing, you can log into that IRS portal and claim the child there. So as of right now, that's what we have for the child tax credit updates. Again, if you have any questions, make sure you put them in the chat or in the comments, and we'll get to those in just a second. Second update. The tax refunds right now are still processing. I know it's frustrating and upsetting for a lot of people, especially since we had news that the tax refunds will be processed in about 10 weeks. So right now we are still waiting for those tax refunds to be processed. On our end, what I am seeing is that a lot of people who filed in the first 2 to 3 weeks in February have started to get their tax refunds actually sent to them via mail or direct deposited. So that's really good news for the people who filed early. I am seeing some people get their tax refund who has filed in March, but there are still plenty of people who are waiting for their tax refunds even after they filed in March. And of course, if you have filed in April or even May, hang on tight because they're still working on getting to a lot of those tax returns right now. So that's the tax refund update, still processing. Hopefully, we get better news soon. And last update I have, and then I'll pass it off to Keran on unemployment tax refunds. Those have been started to be sent as of last week. We saw a headline from the IRS that said they sent out $169 million worth of payments starting last week. So hopefully, if you overpaid in your unemployment taxes in the year of 2020, you may see a slight adjustment and a refund coming pretty soon. So, Karan, I'm going to pass it off to you. What updates are you seeing on your end in the business community and the tax community in the last couple of weeks?
Sure thing. So, Sean, I don't know if you know, but today is one of your favorite days. Do you know what today is?
I don't. Tell me.
Okay, today is the due date for your second quarterly tax payments. Okay, second quarterly tax payments. So if you don't know, right? Generally, if you owe more than say $1,000 in taxes for the year, then the IRS requires you to file quarterly tax payments. So that's for those who are self-employed or those who don't get taxes withheld from other sources like interest payments, dividend payments, capital gains, right? So to do this, you'll need to estimate the amount of taxes you expect to earn for the year, split that up into 4 equal payments, and then you can use something like the Form 1040E to kind of figure out that calculation for yourself. But that's a big update. If you don't pay your quarterly tax payments on time, then you may get penalties and charges when you file your taxes. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. And one more thing. If you don't know, the IRS, well, the government sent out the Plus Up stimulus checks. They went out to about 8 million people last week. So those are for people who received the third stimulus check based on their 2019 federal tax returns, but were actually eligible for a larger payment based on their 2020 return. So if you look out for that extra payment, that extra check, if you got a third stimulus check and you're eligible for that. So those are my 2 updates, Sean.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate those updates, Karan. So, guys, go ahead and start putting some of your questions in the chat box right now. We're going to start getting to as many questions as we possibly can. So, if you have questions regarding child tax credit, unemployment tax refunds, your general tax return, and those refunds, stimulus checks, grants, whatever you got, put them in the chat and let's start getting to them. So, Karan, what are we working with right now? Any questions from anybody that we can start tackling?
Let's see here. Juma asks, may I please use your info on my site? Juma, if you can, let us know what you mean by that. Sean, would you happen to know what that means?
I'm not quite sure either, June, but please, yeah, clarify for us. If you're looking just to refer us or something like that, then that absolutely is okay. But yeah, definitely clarify a little bit more in terms of what you want to use our information for.
Okay, here's one for you, Sean. What's the best accounting software for a new small business?
Oh, that's a great question. Thanks for the question. Who's that from, Karan?
That's from Michael, my New York homie.
Okay, Michael. Yeah, welcome. Thank you for joining us live here today. Best accounting software for a new business. Well, I got one for you, and that's going to be QuickBooks. So, for a new company, what you're going to want is to make sure you're keeping track of all your expenses and all your revenues because you're going to need to use that when you get ready to file your taxes. In addition, it's just really good for keeping up with your business, your cash flows, and everything that's happening financially with your company. So we highly recommend QuickBooks. It's something that we use for ourselves. And personally, I can't wait at the end of the month, every month, just to look at what happened last month, how much money did I make, how many expenses did I have, what's my cash flow, how can I use this cash flow to make better investments. So definitely would highly recommend you look at using QuickBooks, keeping track of all your financial transactions.
Yep, and to add to that, Sean is not lying. We typically do our books on a certain day of the month, and Sean is usually early with asking for that information. But he's definitely not lying.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Cool.
Hopefully that answers your question, Michael. Please let us know if you have any more.
All right. Novell asks, "Are you taking on any new clients?"
Oh, good question, Neville. Thanks for that. So right now we have been kind of overwhelmed. We've been building up this YouTube community, having so much support from all of our fans and our followers, and a lot of people want to work with us now. And unfortunately, we've kind of hit our ceiling for accepting new clients. Right now, we are targeting to accept more clients in late summer. So I would say closer to the end of September or early October, we'll be starting to accept new clients. And the type of clients we're looking for are people who are serious about starting their business, people who are serious about optimizing their tax strategies and looking to avoid paying taxes, or they're looking to just leverage the tax system in a way that maximizes their profits. So I would say late summer, you can expect us to start promoting that we're accepting clients again.
Love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Novell asks, oh, sorry, Betty asks, should you file your business tax separately from your 9 to 5 job? Now, I know that depends on what is your business entity. Is it an LLC, sole proprietor? It will depend on that. So, Betty, if you could let us know how your business is structured, we can give you a better answer to that question. Is that accurate, Sean?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good answer there, and
Right.
yeah, definitely get back to us. Keep interacting with us in the chat, and we'll follow up with you here in a second.
Sure. Okay. We got a Kuna. Could you please comment on tax write-offs for cryptocurrency miners? For
Ooh,
cryptocurrency miners.
love that question. Thank you so much for the question. Akuna, was it, Karan?
Yep.
Akuna, yeah, thank you for that question. Thanks for being here on our live. Karan, I know you know a lot about cryptocurrencies. You did a video on the tax loopholes of cryptocurrencies, which I highly recommend everybody watch that video if you haven't seen it yet. Karan, what are your thoughts on that?
Yep. So when it comes to tax write-offs, it's going to be really, really simple, honestly. The big one that a lot of people miss is if you're doing this, if it's your business and you're doing this from your home, right? From your home, then you might want to look into that home office deduction, right? It has to be exclusive use wherever for your business inside of your home. And you have to use it regularly and often, right? To use that home office deduction. But the other one that you want to look into, though, is really anything that you use for your business can be written off, right? So we talk about equipment, you talk about the computers you use, and we talk about pens and paper, whatever it is, right? If it's tools, software, equipment, anything that you use for your business, if it's a cost, then it can be written off. All right.
Absolutely. And let me circle back with Betty here. I see that
Mhm.
maybe Sherman or Crystal is somewhere watching the video, and they just got back here in the chat and said that for Betty, single members, LLCs, as well as just sole proprietors, they of course they file their taxes with their personal returns. And if you have a separate entity like a partnership LLC, S corporation, or C corporation, then of course you will file a business tax return separately from your personal tax return. So I see that we're jumping into the chat here and answering some of those questions. So I just wanted to circle back with you as promised. And that is the reason why Karan and I want to know what your entity type was so that we can give you that recommendation. So Karan, any other questions in the chat right now?
Glendine. Oh, Michael said yes, it does. That helps him. So thank you, Sean, for that. Glendine says, "What are your consultation fees?"
Awesome, indeed. So we just talked about how we're not accepting clients right now. When we are starting to accept the clients again, what we want to do is more of like group consultations, because one-on-one consultations just cost so much. We were charging upwards to $1,000 per consultation for one-on-ones. Going forward, if we're able to do group consultations and talk to people as a team regarding tax strategies or just financial ways to improve yourself or just business growth opportunities. We want to do that in a group setting. And because of that, we should be able to suppress the rates a little bit. We don't have a solid number yet, but definitely stay tuned. Again, we'll be launching here in September, October. We're ready to start doing consulting again.
That's right. That's right. Okay. Acuna says, awesome. Thank you very much. So glad we was able to help there. Scott Garrett says, Lime Scooter underscore, question mark, question mark, question mark. Lime Scooter. You know what that might mean, Sean?
Lime scooter. I feel like that is the brand of a scooter you can like ride around in like city streets or just any street you
Oh,
want
okay.
to. I'm not quite sure if he's making a comment toward our background here. Maybe we look like the Lime brand or something like that. But Scott, you got to ask a more in depth question than that, man. We need more information.
Hey, Scott, I'll tell you, if you're saying that we look like the Lime Scooter, I think that's pretty funny, man. All right. Novell says, how would I go about doing a living trust to protect my business assets and personal interests? That's a really good question. Novell, I would say that we don't focus too primarily on living trust and things of that nature. So I wouldn't be the best person to answer that for you, Sean. You know how to take a crack at that, or what would you say?
Well, yeah, I agree with Karan. That's not something that we look into too much as far as how to protect your assets. That sounds more like a legal lawyer question, and we, of course, are accountants and tax professionals. So I would defer to someone who does know what they're talking about. That being said, there are different ways you can protect your assets and establish trust. I personally have a trust that I've signed up for. I think with LegalZoom, I filled out some key questions and it generated a contract template and trust template for me to basically have notarized and signed off by the people that I trust to have that information to. So, yeah, I would say definitely seek legal advice or just try to find maybe an online support system for something like that.
Cool, great add on there. Let's see here. Come on in. Said it's been 20 weeks and still nothing. I'm assuming she's talking about her
Tax return.
tax returns, yep. Her
Yeah,
refunds, yep.
yeah, 20 weeks. So 20 weeks from today would have been how many days is that? 20 times 7,
That's
140
November
days.
1st, Sean.
Hmm?
Oh, hold on. Let me go back. 1 second.
20 weeks. You got us doing math. What was that? Come on in. Got us doing some
That's
math.
January. January.
January. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's a problem with that because technically you could not have filed your tax return until February, the second or third week of February, which is like February 12th or 14th. I can't remember the exact date now. But yeah, if you filed in January, you might want to check that return actually sent to the IRS because there's no way it could have been 20 weeks. They didn't start accepting returns until second or third week of February.
Good, thank you for that, Sean. Let me see. Scott got back to us on the Lime Scooter.
All right.
Said, talking about if you can write it off, use it from my pet care company to get around from client to client. Wow,
Oh
that's
man. Yeah, of course, dude. That's awesome that you're doing a pet service company. Please tell us a little bit more about what that business is. Maybe we can chat a little bit more about it overall. But yeah, I mean that's essentially a transportation expense. So the same way you can write off your travel miles where when you're in a car or in a vehicle or something like that, I would imagine you can do the same For scooters, I have clients who write off expenses for their Ubers, clients who write off expenses for their Lyft drives. Sometimes clients have private, like limousine escort services to kind of impress their clientele or whatnot. So, yeah, if you're riding scooters to service different pet owners, that's definitely a tax write off that you should keep track of course, with a spreadsheet, or if you have a little bit of money using QuickBooks. But yeah, man, that's awesome that you're putting in the grind and hustle and using that scooter to get around.
Love it. Love it. Okay. See here, who else we got? Um, J Sizzle 1314. How do I pay myself from distributions in an S corp after my salary?
Oh,
After my
that's a good question, Jay Zizzle, and it is a very in-depth answer I could give you to that. What I can say is we just put out a video last week, I think, on how S corp owners can pay themselves. So I
Mhm.
would recommend watching that video. It's about 10 minutes long. It'll give you a full, detailed explanation. But in general, you need to be paying yourself a reasonable salary. So whatever responsibilities and tasks that you do on a day-to-day operations, I guess, is what you should pay yourself. So one way to think about it is if you had to literally give this job to someone else, right? Like if you had to give it to me or Keran or anybody out there, what would you be willing to offer that person? And then what would that person be willing to accept? Right. So you're kind of competing with the market there, but that's what you want to pay yourself as a salary. And of course, your distributions can be whatever your profit is. You can distribute that to yourself at the end of the year. Again, not direct financial advice, and I would highly, highly recommend you check out Sherman's video on how to pay yourself as an S corp owner. It'll give you literally everything that you need.
Yep, good answer there. And I have one, I guess, add on to that. This is not something the IRS mandated was safe, but I know that a lot of companies like to go with the 60-40 rule, which is they do 60% in salary and 40% in distributions. The overall thinking is that that's generally safe, but no guarantees. And like Sean said, please watch that video. I think Sherman made that on how you could pay yourself in an S corp.
Absolutely. Yep.
Cool. Let's see here. Jennifer, it's been over 21 days and it still says that my taxes hasn't been processed. Hasn't been
Oh,
processed.
Jennifer, I hate to give you the bad news, but that update, you're probably seeing that on that Where's My Refund Status tool. That update has kind of been overridden. The IRS released something back in March saying that it could take up to 10 weeks for them to process your return. So that 21-day thing, 3-week thing is kind of outdated as of right now. They've asked for 10 weeks actually, and there are people right now who are even beyond 10 weeks. So you're probably in for a long ride as far as getting your tax refund right now.
Cool. Thank you for that, Sean. Let's see what else we
No, the
got.
truth, the truth hurts sometimes, but hey, that's what we're here for. We want to give you the truth and the hard facts, and just kind of keep you guys updated with what is actually happening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Quality says Uber Eats driver learning the tax game, write-offs and doing my own taxes as a 1099. Hey, Quality, I gotta say, man, congrats. Like a lot of business owners, you're a step ahead of a lot of business owners these days. Just in our dealings, we know that a lot of people don't put that at the top of their mind to understand and learn. But what you have to understand is that the less you pay in taxes, the more money that you have to help your business grow, right? And to live. So you're definitely doing the right thing. And congrats to you on that. Love it.
Yeah, love it, love it, love it. Also, Karan, I see a question here from Marcus, uh,
Mm.
here,
Oh,
Lord. Uh, yeah, so he's asking, do you have to file an amended? I'm assuming a minute return from unemployment to get the $10,200 if you claim a child. Um, that question is worded really weird, but I think what you're trying to ask is, do you have to file a minute return for that unemployment adjustment tax refund? And the answer is no. The IRS is going in and they're doing those adjustments automatically for you. So there's no real action that you have to take. What we do is try to just update you guys on where the IRS is and making those adjustments, as well as try to give you an idea of if you should expect a tax refund or not from any unemployment that you got in 2020.
Thank you for that. Strong John, just started my LLC in May. I've had sales and reinvesting my profits since January. Do I go back to January with my LLC or start fresh from May? Thanks. You guys are great. Wish I can use you guys. Let's unpack this. So just started your LLC in May. So I'm assuming you just got it incorporated in May. I had sales and reinvested my profits since January. So you've been working in the business since January, but I'm assuming you got incorporated in May. Can you confirm that for us, Strong John? Do I go back to January with my LLC or start fresh from May? Thanks. You guys are great. Wish I could use you guys. That's a good question. I mean, you have what's called startup expenses, right? And you can have up to 5,000 of those that you can write off. So I know there's that. But yeah, Sean John, can you clarify with us whether you incorporated in May but been working since January? I just want to clarify that.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, John, Strong John, I like that name by the way, Strong John, I like that. So yeah, if you are an LLC, we need to know if you're LLC single member or LLC partnership. That's also going to make a difference for your record keeping, as well as whether or not how you're going to file your taxes. By default, if you are not incorporated, like if you don't have an LLC, S corp, or a partnership or something like that, then by default, you are a sole proprietor. And if you're a single member LLC on top of that, it really won't impact the way that you track your expenses. So you would start from January, technically as that sole proprietorship, but it'll all be kind of bundled up into just one sort of tax filing under your personal business name. Hopefully that makes sense. But in summary, you're going to want to start back from January, but we need to know what type of entity you have and if you have any partners. So please follow up with us in the chat and let us know that.
Right. Yeah, man, just for clarity, that makes sense to me. But basically what you're saying, Sean, is that if you're a sole proprietor or a single member LLC, you don't have to get incorporated. And therefore, whenever you started your business is when you start, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not bound by an incorporation date.
Exactly. Cool. Thanks for summarizing that for me.
Right. Okay. Let's see. Oh, this chat is moving. Hold on. Lost my spot.
Hey, thanks for everybody being on. If you're enjoying our live Q&A session so far, please do us a huge favor. Hit that like button. And if you're new here, subscribe. It really does us. It makes us really, really happy when you hit that like button and you subscribe. It helps us grow as a channel. It helps the YouTube algorithm. And we appreciate it when you guys do that. So we do this video completely for free. All we ask is that you hit that like button and show us some love.
Yep. All right. Let's see here. Kuna asks, if I invested in a computer to mine crypto, is there a need to establish a company first? Can I just get to mining and figure out the company structure after? I love that question. Sean, didn't you just do a video on this?
I have not.
Okay, I could have sworn you have video on this, but that's a good question, Kuna. And no, your video, Sean, why not to become an LLC? Reasons why not to become an LLC. Now I'll answer the question for you, Kuna. So basically, when it comes to getting incorporated, right? Sean had a video on why not to become an LLC, and one of the biggest reasons why you might not want to become an LLC or getting incorporated is, LLC is for protection, limited liability protection, right? So if your business has limited liability, meaning that you have a low chance of getting sued, right? And being sued for your assets, then there's really no reason to make it LLC, right? There's really no reason, because you get almost the same benefits as you would with an LLC as you would as a sole proprietor outside of the limited liability protection, right? So hopefully, that answers your question for you. Sean, anything to add on to that?
Yeah, no, that absolutely makes sense. And thanks for remembering my own advice there. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't need that asset protection, and of course, there's no reason to really get incorporated. I'm assuming that by default, you're going to be a business because you're mining crypto and using your computers, and you're going to have expenses and stuff like that. And I'm assuming there's going to be some revenue generated from those activities. So, yeah, you just need to decide whether or not that you're going to be an LLC. You need that asset protection, or S corporation for the same reasons, or not. So yeah, that makes sense to me.
Right. So from a liability protection, it doesn't sound like you would need to get incorporated. Okay, cool. Let's see here. Jeremy asks, when registering your LLC, are you able to use a virtual address as your registered agent to keep your personal address private? Yep, Jeremy, you are able to use a virtual address. You can use a virtual address for your for your business address if you want. There also are companies that you also can pay to be your registered agent and handle that for you. So, Jeremy, hopefully that answers your question.
Yep, and just to add on to that, you still need a registered agent. That registered agent can have a virtual address or some kind of mail PO box or something like that. But in general, you're still going to want to have a registered agent, and they can have pretty much whatever address that they have.
Right. You definitely have to have a registered agent. Right.
Yep.
All right. Lindine, thank you for the tax dates. Yep. Sean
Absolutely.
John, yes.
Keep the questions coming. Whatever questions you got, put them in the chat. We love to get to as many as we can. We'll probably spend another 15 minutes or so here answering questions.
Yep. Um. Okay, this thing is moving again. Let's see.
Karan, read some stuff out for us. What are you seeing on your end?
Sure, I'm trying to keep up with it, Sean. Okay, if I don't, Akun again, if I don't get the expected returns on my crypto equipment investment, is there a way to depreciate the equipment over the years so I at least break even?
So not sure on the first part of that question, Akuna. And Akuna, thanks for being here, man. You've been one of the first people to hop on the live, and you're coming in and answering questions, following up with us. We love the engagement. Hopefully, you're subscribing and liking this video too. So as far as the expected returns and how depreciation may factor into that, we would have to look at your numbers to be able to answer that specifically. But businesses can depreciate business equipment, especially if it's used solely for business purposes. So yeah, that's definitely a possibility as far as whether or not you're going to break even or you're going to get some returns and all of that stuff. We have to look at the numbers and see exactly what we're talking about there. But yeah, you can write off business equipment.
Cool. Thank you, Sean. Strong John, he confirmed that he was a single member LLC. So Strong John, you're good. I don't yeah. So
Yep.
he can start from January. Yeah.
Start from
Yeah.
January.
Yep. All right. TS Funky, there was a person, he had 6 fingers in his hand and people call him John. Why?
Oh, setting us up for a joke. Yes, Funky hit us with the punchline. I have
Nice.
no idea, Karan. Do you know?
I
Six
do
fingers
not
in his
know.
hand, and people call him John. I'm lost. You're gonna have to give us the answer to that.
Yeah, I don't know that one. Yeah, give us the answer, TS Funky. I would love to know. Let's see here. Oh, okay. We answering the questions. All right, Holly, that's what's causing the delays in people's refunds. The IRS is adjusting the accounts for the unemployment, for the advanced UTC, and for people that have claimed the RRC but already got the full stimulus.
Holly, I would agree with you as far as speculation on why they're so behind on refunds and all the things that they owe us as the citizens here in the United States. And in addition to that, in one of my videos, I laid out how the IRS has basically been cutting staff every year, and so it's also speculation that they are understaffed while at the same time having all these adjustments and all of these things going on. So, Holly, me and you are on the same page as far as what we think is going on behind the scenes.
Yep. They have a lot going on, and not a lot of people to handle it all. All right. Shirlita said, my daughter has a company, Bria's Makeover. I have tried to fill out a PPP loans, and we have no victory in filling them out for the loan, or can get help getting this loan. Can we get help? If so, where? Charlita, can you help us out with the first part of that question? When you said, I've tried to fill out the PPP loan and we have no victory in filling it out. Can you help us out with what you mean by that? Are you saying that you were not able to complete the fill out of the loan, or you just haven't been approved? Can you help us out there?
Right. Yeah. Are you missing like certain information and you're trying to find some records to finish the application? Have you applied but it's been denied? Tell us what's going on a little bit more. And I'm not quite sure if they're still doing PPP funding right now. I think I saw that they may have exhausted their funds, but yeah, definitely try to get back to us on that additional information.
Yep. Let's see here. Michael, I recently formed the LLC single member, but I'm delayed starting the business. But NY wants me to file taxes this month. Since I only have startup expenses, should I just file it myself on the web? Yeah, Michael, that's up to you, man. If you feel comfortable with in your bookkeeping and your record keeping skills, and your expenses, then if you feel comfortable with filling it out, then by all means you can go ahead and try to fill out your taxes by yourself. If you want some help, then you go out and get help. Yeah. All right.
Agree. All right, Keran. So let's go ahead and answer maybe three more questions. So let's try to skim through, get to some people that we haven't answered questions from yet. So we have answered your question, or at least one of your questions so far. Bear with us. We'll of course hopefully look at doing a live again, but let's try to get to some people who we haven't talked to yet.
Okay, Sean, give me 1 second.
All right. While Keran is filtering through, let me try to filter through again. And let me also remind everybody, if you're watching right now, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel. It makes us extremely happy when you do that. It helps videos like this reach more people who want to learn more about what's happening in the tax community, business advice, etc. So please, please, please hit that like button, comment below. It means the world to us, guys. So I just have to say that again.
Yes, it does. All right, let's see here. TDS Palace. How long does a 1K consultant last? And will it be tailored around my specific needs? Yep. So TDS Palace. So we actually aren't doing consulting right now at all. We actually aren't taking any clients right now either. So it isn't going on right now. But what I will say is that, like Sean said, we're looking into doing group coaching. And also, as one of our team members put into the chat, we also plan on doing courses as well. So those should be coming out shortly. And at that time, we'll be better able to answer that question once we know what our final offering will be.
Absolutely. Yeah. And of course, we want to give you guys the best advice possible. And that can only happen if we know your specific needs, we know your numbers. So we're definitely going to try to set it up in a way where we can get to you the answers that you so desire.
Yep. Okay. Miss Yolanda asks, what are the reasons why a person who paid taxes on unemployment not receive an unemployment tax refund?
Ooh, what are the reasons why? Can you say that one more time, Keran?
What are the reasons why a person who paid taxes on unemployment not receive an unemployment tax refund?
Oh, got it. Okay, so what happened in the American Rescue Plan is they forgave $10,200 of unemployment essentially, and you didn't have to pay taxes on that. So, in a situation where you received more than $10,200 in unemployment in 2020, let's say you ended up having like maybe 30,000 in unemployment last year, then a lot of what you paid in taxes may be going to that balance between 30,000 and $10,200. So, what is that? $18,800 will be that balance, and you have to pay taxes on that still. In addition, if you just made other income, so maybe your income was super high before you became unemployed, well, you're still gonna have to pay taxes on the high income you had before. And based on that balance, you could have had used some of that unemployment refund to go towards your higher income balance. So again, it's really tough to be able to answer these questions without seeing actual numbers. But those are a couple of reasons why you may not get an unemployment tax refund if you had super high income before you were employed, or you just had higher unemployment than the average person. Some of your taxes probably went toward that as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see. RE asks, is it legal to front my company an auto loan so that it may finance a vehicle to rent out on Turo? So can you personally loan your company money?
Ooh, yeah, that's going to be tough to pull off. This is getting into entities again, right? So if you're a single member entity, it's basically no difference between your personal as well as your single member entity being like a single member LLC or sole proprietorship. There's not going to be a huge difference between your personal transactions and your business transactions. So they're all kind of viewed as one. That's not going to work out for you. If you're an S corp or a C corporation and you have partners or a partnership LLC, you may be able to do that as a capital contribution, but that is still going to be a little bit difficult to pull off. A lot of that money is still going to be see through. And of course, at that point, you're sharing that loan with your partners. So, yeah, that's going to be difficult to answer without knowing your entity and some of your numbers.
Gotcha. Okay. And then how many more questions you want to do, Sean? One or two? How you feeling?
Let's do two more. Two more. We give you guys two more questions. I'm enjoying this. Thank you guys so much for interacting with us, being here today. This is awesome. So yeah, let's do two more questions, Keran.
All right, all right. Let's see. I saw a good one. I believe it was from Yamisha. She asks, hold on, let me find it. Should I have a separate LLC for each of my rental properties? For each of my rental properties.
Ooh, I love that question. Now, Keran, you are somebody I go to for rental advice all the time. So I'm really curious to know what you have to say about this question.
Yeah, I mean, the honest truth, Yamisha, is that it really depends on your risk tolerance, right? The purpose of the LLC is to protect your assets, right? So, for example, if you have a rental property in an LLC, say you have multiple rental properties in an LLC, right? If one of the renters in that property that's in the LLC sues you, then they have access, right, to the all the assets within that LLC, right? So with that quick example there, you can see how having all of your rental properties in a single LLC can be risky, right? It can be risky, right? But then you also have to weigh the cost and the time to manage the LLCs for multiple properties, right? So it's just that risk and I guess time, cost, reward that you have to consider for yourself. But that would be my answer to that. It's really dependent on you, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And of course, as Keran kind of alluded to, having a lot of LLCs is also asking for a lot of work. If you work with accountants or file taxes like us, you're in for a lot of time or a lot of expenses. If you go to any accountant and say, "Hey, I have 10 LLCs, I need you to do taxes on," they're probably going to charge you upwards to $5,000 to $10,000 to do that type of work. Whereas you have one and there's just a lot going on, you'll probably get a little bit of a lower rate. So just kind of keep that in mind as well, as far as like your risk tolerance, what you're willing to pay. So Keran, just to ask you another question on that, if I have 10
Mhm.
rental properties and one gets sued, because of course we know an LLC protects your personal assets but not your business assets. So if I have one rental property, it gets sued, can they technically get the income or go after some of the other properties within that LLC?
Well, yeah, Sean, right? Because that's when you think about, for example, I'm going to use the trucking industry as an example, right? When you get into an accident, right? Lawyers love going after those companies, trucking companies. Why? Because they have a lot of money, Sean, right? They have a lot of assets on the books, cash, equipment, things that you can sell if I need to get money from you,
Yep.
if I have a judgment against you, right? So exactly, Sean. So yes, right, because you have a lot of asset value within your LLC, which makes you a big whale. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. It's kind of scary, but it makes sense.
Right, right.
All right, one
Okay.
more question, and we'll wrap up here.
All right. Let's see if I can find one.
Before we end this chat, while Keran is looking for another question for our final question today, we want to hear from you guys. Do you like us going live? Do you find any value from this? Put it in the chat or put it in the comment section if you would like to see us go live more often, maybe once a week, once a month, something like that. Tell us in the chat box or the comment section if we should go live again and do this type of content more often.
All right. Come on. Anybody got another question for me? Let me see.
Did we get to everything?
I'm trying to find one. Miss Yolanda, thank you so much for telling your friends to come join our live. We love you for that. Thank you so much.
And hello to all of Yolanda's friends. Welcome to our chat. Please like the video and subscribe as well.
Right. For cryptos, okay, I just found one from Ciro. For cryptos, would it be better being a sole proprietor, since I feel it's not much liability, but I'm just staking a few coins, which is generating revenue? Can I put my staked coins in one LLC? So those two separate questions. The first question, for cryptos, would it be better being a sole proprietor since there's not much liability? If it was me, I would say yes. You don't have to. Once again, we talk about the time and cost aspects of maintaining an LLC. If you don't want to deal with that, then sole proprietor sounds good to me. Next, can I put all my staked coins or your revenue in one LLC? I would say maybe. It's really going to come down to if when you sign up for these crypto platforms, are you allowed to register as a business? I don't know. Do you know, Sean?
That's a good question. We're gonna have to get back to you on that. Maybe live.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But if you are, then yeah, if you're able to register as a business, then yeah, you could put all of your crypto revenue in there.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna wrap it up. Keran, how many people in the chat are saying they want to see us go live again? Guys, again, if you want to see us do another live, please tell us in the comment section or the chat box.
We have Andre. We have Andre that says yes, this is great. He wants it once a week, Sean.
Once a week, okay.
RJ wants this once a week. Angie, sure, please do this. Awesome. Creating legacy. Love this live. Very good info. Yes. Blow with a crypto video. That's A Kuna, our guy. Yep. People saying they love it. So yep. We'll try to do this more often. We can't promise on the frequency, right? But we'll definitely do it more often for sure.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Keran, but I had a ton of fun doing this, answering you guys' questions, providing value. And of course, you guys show us so much love on YouTube that it's only right that we try to talk to you directly. So I had a lot of fun, Keran. What about you?
I loved it. This is great. Hey, I'll say this is more fun than making the videos, man.
I had a feeling we come out the other end saying that. So, well, again, guys, thank you so much for joining our first YouTube live. I'm sure it's not going to be our last. Keep watching our videos, showing us love, and we'll see you guys in our next video.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.